Hello, my name is Nolan Gregory, and I am working on the Computer Science Learning Center portal, or CSLC, is what most people call it. So this portal is a way for students to go and submit a ticket for help, and then a tutor can come and claim that ticket and close it if it was successful, stuff like that. The standard ticketing system you see across the board. So behind me, what I have is some code showing the form. It's just a real brief snippet of what some of the code looks like. The only reason why it's saying that I have 6 errors is because it's TypeScript and I haven't given a type. I haven't built out a type for this whole component yet, so that's why it's not that big of a deal. The current issue with this is that this form is really tightly coupled with API calls. So I built an API that actually calls the backend. That's a REST API and does a bunch of stuff, but it's being called right here in this form. So if we actually go, we can check it out. If I go to the top here, we can see that I'm actually calling this API via Axios. So Axios is a promise-based API, or it's not really API, but it's a fetch async package or library inside of JavaScript. And I'm trying to currently get those out of this component. I'm trying to get every API call out of any component because I just want an abstracted view inside the component. The reason why is because I don't want any coupling between the two. I don't want any dependencies between my API call and my component. Let's say something changes down the road. Let's say I change a URL in my API. Well, that's going to be a total nightmare if every single component has its own queries into the API, essentially. So I've made an API layer right here that you can see, and right now they only have GET requests, but it's decoupling the components that you see here under components right here from the actual API calls, and it's called an API layer. So that's what we're working on right now. We also built out a bunch of different views, so you'll see them right here. We also have some scripts. So these scripts are used to build out the application for the first time. So if you see here, we just essentially build the application from scratch. And if you don't have something installed, let's say you don't have Node, well, then we'll go ahead and install Node on your system. You don't have NPM. Well, I guess if you don't have NPM, you probably don't have Node, but it'll install that. It's just a check that we have. We also have some checks for, I believe, poetry. Yeah, because this project uses poetry for the backend. So we'll install all that, and then we'll npm install, which is just installing the dependencies. And lastly, we will create the database, and then create a super user in the database, and then test some stuff down here. We've also got something to delete the database. So this will delete every migration. It'll delete your schema, and it'll repopulate the database with whatever data you want. You can seed data into it if you so desire. You can put it into a directory, and it'll seed for you. We have a formatter here, which is just a real simple formatter that formats the backend. I don't have one for the front end yet. You can see I run EasyLint fix on it, but I'm going to use JS Beautifier, I believe. I haven't thought about it yet too much. We have some killing the server is not that big of a deal. We have linting, so linting is really important. That's how you know if your code base looks good, essentially, visually. So this is a bat file. This is the only bat file I have right now. I don't really write stuff on Windows often. Like right now I'm on a Windows machine. That's why I have this. But this essentially just starts up every server because right now there's different servers for the backend and the front end, and they need to communicate with each other. And then we've got the same thing but for a shell script. So you can see I'm currently running the servers. I said make win-run dev. I'm on a Windows machine, and it'll run that bat file. Make is just something that usually is used to build C and C++ projects, but I use it all the time because I like it. So if I go ahead and switch my screen here to the actual program, switch here, we can see that I've got a create ticket section. So this name is my name, and then this is my username. This just gets loaded in by default because this is my account. I then have a drop down for professors. You can see it's searchable. So these are dummy data. I use faker.js to get all this. I just make it as I see the database. So let's say I want maybe this Dedrick Smith down here, and I'm like, oh, there's 100 professors here. I don't want to type that all. Let me just type in Smith because I know that's his last name. Oh, look, there's Dedrick Smith. So I'll click him, and now I've selected him. Course, it's going to be the same thing. Can't really see it right now just because of the way that it's being rendered. I have to paginate this, unfortunately, because there's a lot of courses. But let's say I want software engineering, and then an issue type, and then these are makeable by the actual admin. So these are going to be different based on what you see here. It's just what I wrote up real quickly. Say miscellaneous, and then enter a description. Maybe I'll leave that blank for now just to show you. If I click submit ticket, you'll see that I have to enter a description. And when I start typing, it says that it must be more than 10 characters. So maybe help, I do not understand what I am doing. When I click submit ticket, it'll actually submit my ticket and I can view it in a second. But let's go ahead and maybe make one of these blank. So I'll refresh the page and I'll leave the professor blank. So I'll do cybersecurity, exam, and I'll just type some random stuff there. When I click submit ticket, you see enter a professor for the course. So these are all required fields, everything you see here. This gets pre-populated. That's why it's grayed out like that. And then now I can submit my, I'll select the professor, and now I can submit my ticket, and you can see it. It doesn't say anything right now, but it actually did just send data to the database, and I can verify that by going inspect, console, and you can see here, this object, it's a lot being queried right now. But yeah, that's just, this is just an issue with React. I'm not even gonna look at that. But you can see it created. So it created this object that I just sent via Axios. And this is just a bunch of Axios stuff. So if it doesn't make a ton of sense, that's fine. This is the data that I actually sent over. So you can see this is the actual JSON payload. But the only thing that the student sees is these 6 fields right now. If I go to my tutor dashboard, I'm going to close this because it's going to blow up in a second. Here, the reason why I said it's going to blow up is because it's loading all of these from the database. These are actually getting from the database or gotten from the database. So you can see I just use Faker to make all of these tickets. This is just lorem ipsum in Faker, and then these are just students in the database that are fake through Faker, and then fake professors and fake courses. So we have a claim and a close, and then that's pretty cool. So if I was an admin, though, if I go maybe back to create a ticket and then I go to my admin view, so you can't see it on the screen because I'm not going to switch over since it's not really that interesting. But if I say, let's go ahead and go to components, navigation, sidebar. So I'm going to set myself to an admin real fast. And you'll see my sidebar is about to change. So now I have an admin panel, which is pretty cool. And if I go to the announcement section, for example, well, look at this. I can create an announcement. I can, this would be loaded if I go to my home page. Ignore this blank space for now. I'm just trying to figure out what I can put there. I formatted it like this on purpose so I can try to figure it out. But you see these recent announcements. So this can actually be posted by the professor, which is pretty neat. There's a bunch of different fields here too, so it's not super unique. What else do we got here? Oh, settings. This is pretty cool. We have light mode and dark mode that I've added. So if I update this, we're now in dark mode. And this is actually written to local storage. So if I go ahead and maybe go back to create a ticket and I press refresh or something, I'm still in dark mode, which is pretty neat. And then my favorite thing is the dark mode has, if I go back to my student view or my tutor view, we kind of have this cool, like, I don't know what you'd call it. But these kind of glow a little bit, which, I think that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty neat that they look like that. Maybe some people don't, but the idea is that I like it. I'm kidding. So we still have a little bit of work to do. I really want to get this done, like the actual main aspect of it, in the next week. And I think I will. It's almost done. Like when I submit this ticket here, it'll actually populate it into the database. And then when I go to my dashboard, I'll be able to actually view it. And you can see the ticket I made. It's right here. It just doesn't have anything in it because I'm not serializing it right now. And that just takes 2 seconds to add. I just have to update my serializer because I changed some stuff around. But yeah, that's about it. So hopefully the next milestone, I'll have a little bit more to show you. But take care. Yeah.